All right, there we go. Finally got it. Finally got it working. All right, so let's just get into what you guys want to talk about. Uh, Neither are the friends we made along the way. Poor fellas, says Ryan Gallagher. So yeah, poll question is back up. Let's see. Who wins the million? Ty Gibbs, Ty Dilly, or the friends we made along the way? Right now, 50% saying Ty Gibbs going to win. Obviously, with the good qualifying effort here at the Brickyard. 14% say John Hunter Nemechek will win, says Shaw. Yes, messed it up because I was in a rush there. Who's your internet provider, says Camaro. I've got Starlink. So Starlink is not the problem. In fact, YouTube wouldn't even pull up a minute ago. So I know for a fact this time it's on YouTube's end because when I was trying to start it 3 times, I literally had to close out Google Chrome here just to pull back up YouTube. Something's going on with the YouTube side of things. It's not the actual internet connectivity because it's streaming in the living room over there. So the internet's working. Internet hasn't gone out. So something's up. I don't know. I get worn out with the YouTube stuff. So it is what it is. Hit like on your way in, please, says Rosie. So yeah, if you'd like to hit the like button, it would be much appreciated. 14% also say they are voting for someone in 2028, says Jamie Schweitzer. So there you go. We're not getting into politics, but that's Jamie Schweitzer's take on it. If Austin Hill does not get suspended, NASCAR, I just opened up Pandora's box for the rest of the season, says Joseph Wooden. Yeah, I agree with you. So as far as the Austin Hill situation goes, he was going to get probably suspended anyway, but the icing on the cake is when you told NASCAR to go F itself. NASCAR is definitely going to suspend you now because of what they heard on pit road. So if there was any doubt, because that's just how NASCAR is, right? We're seeing it in the lawsuit. NASCAR doesn't play games. They're petty. They're Richard. They're so petty, right? So it's just even, and I don't think there was any wiggle room. So in this case, I don't think it's going to matter. But even if there was wiggle room, they were going to suspend him over that, in my opinion, period. Ty Gibbs, I like that. Or Young Gibeon, says Shah. Xfinity race was really good yesterday, says Nicole. Xfinity race was definitely a really good race. And the unfortunate part about that was, as good as the race was, at the end, all we're going to talk about, or all that the media is going to talk about, is probably going to be Ty Gibbs. Is probably going to be Austin Hill and Eric Almirola. So it's just one of those unfortunate things that's going to overshadow the great finish there from Connor Zilisch and Taylor Gray, who I called Tanner Gray, I think 100 times on the video this morning. So, Taylor Gray put on a great performance. Didn't quite have the car that the 88 did, but, man, he held on to it as long as he could. Great drive for him. For him to even get the lead from the 88 was an amazing feat. And why Sam Mayer pushed the fastest car on the racetrack to the lead, I'll never understand, because if you push Taylor Gray to the lead, Sam Mayer, you at least have a chance to win this race by trying to get the 88 in third. But he decided to push the 88 and get that second-place finish. So, I mean, I don't know. He's sitting in the car. You probably don't have time to think about all that, but I didn't understand that move either. But either way, man, great finish there at the end of that race, and we're not talking about that, unfortunately. We're talking about, Austin Hill right hooking somebody. Unfortunately, that's the way it's going to play out. All I want is a Chase Elliott win on my birthday, says Joseph Wooten. This is a good track for Chase Elliott, so you do have a pretty good chance. Not the greatest qualifying efforts, but that's been his sort of MO all season, has not qualified well. Gonna probably be really difficult here because you saw how hard it was to pass in Xfinity. You know the Cup cars, as we've seen previously, it's even harder usually to pass in the Cup cars at an aero track. So it's probably going to be a track position race, so we'll see what happens. Shame on Larson for taking out the numbers. Yeah, that was a bad move by Larson. Gassed up too soon. He didn't have the arrow there on the nose because he was racing somebody and gassed up too soon, and got into the 7 car. Unfortunate for Justin Allgaier. If you're a Justin Allgaier fan, you know that's typical Justin Allgaier luck. Unfortunately, but yeah, for sure. He handled it like a pro, though. Always a professional in his interviews and stuff. And yeah, bad deal for sure. Larson ends up 3rd or 4th. I can't exactly remember where he finished, but he was in the top 5 somewhere after the crash. Cassandra saying, hi y'all from North Idaho. Race fans, catch H1 Unlimited boats running for the Gold Cup this weekend in Tri-Cities, Washington. Gold Cup is the oldest motorsports racing trophy. There you go. There you go. Cassandra dropping some knowledge about the Gold Cup. I'm not familiar with that one, so I'll have to look it up. John P saying, did you get a new mic? The red. I would name it the Red Rockets or the Red Lipstick. This is actually the Richard Petty mic because we went with the Petty blue and the red. So that's why the microphone thing is red. But yes, it is a new mic because and it's running through a Rodecaster Pro board, and so hopefully the sound is as good as the sound can be. I can't control how it sounds coming out to YouTube, but it sounds really good on the board. So and all the wires are brand new as well. So hopefully the sound issues are better than they have been in the past. Why is Ford favored when they are barely represented in the top 10 start? I don't know. So I was talking about this with a friend the other day. Is Ford having a down year because they're spending so much money in F1? You see this every once in a while. They chased Le Mans for a while as well, and every once in a while Ford has a pet project, and it does affect the Cup Series. So that could be why Ford is not necessarily talked about as much, or why Ford is having a down year. They're third in the manufacturer's points right now. So yeah, definitely not the year they want to have. What's causing that, it remains to be seen, but I have seen some like I said, I've talked with some of my friends about it could be maybe they're spending more money in other areas, and NASCAR is suffering because of it. Who knows, or it could just be a down year. You never know. I have viewed Austin Hill as a psycho since he punched Myatt Snyder a Hill hole. Says Shaw, Hill is emotionally unstable in my opinion, says Shaw. Aren't we all? Hill's owner is too, says Jamie Schweitzer. So there you go. RCR catching it every which way here. It was an exceptional race overall, though, says Shaw. Yeah, I thought the race was really good as well. It had pretty much everything you wanted. You had comers and goers. You had guys that were passing for the lead. They were able to slingshot and do all that stuff. So it was a good race from that perspective. I think it'll probably end up being the best race of the weekend because I'm thinking the Cup race is probably going to be a track position type race. But I'm hoping I'm wrong here. Hoping I'm wrong 100%. I would like to see a wider camera angle and the SMT data. Austin Hill tried to side draft and got arrow loose. So RCR, tell him how it is. Blue collar racing, says Sir Wood Rooster. Yeah, so certainly from Austin Hill's perspective, whether he's arguing it not to get suspended or whether he's telling the truth, they're arguing that he just lost control of the car. I think the vast majority of people disagree with that, but our old school RCR fans remember it. Dale Earnhardt never ran into anybody. You saw a few people throw it in reverse and back into his nose, though. So that's RCR tradition for sure, no doubt about it. I'm an RCR man as well, but I do think Hill's going to get the one race suspension here, if for nothing else, what he said on pit road about NASCAR, which was funny to me. So it is what it is. I bet NASCAR requires anger management course for Hill. Yeah, they might throw the book at him. Like I said, NASCAR's petty, and they're probably not going to like what they heard on pit road. Remember when this race was cool, says Krusty? I remember. Yeah, they used to hype it up so much. You don't see nearly the hype for this race used to get. Larson was supposed to be in the Xfinity booth, says in between lanes. Yep. But he had something more fun to do, so he went and raced the number 17 car. Larson takes out Allgaier late for the lead, and Austin Hill's Bush League move keeps all the heat off of him. Hey, good point, Jesse Daly. Nobody was happier about the Austin Hill situation than Kyle Larson. That's a fact. When fans say Larson gets a pass more than any other driver, this is what they mean. This is probably the worst example. So it's going to be interesting. Because in this particular situation, the Austin Hill deal is, I don't know, it's going to be such a big I don't think no matter what happened in this race, I think the Austin Hill situation would have overshadowed it. But yes, to your point, a lot of people do give Kyle Larson a pass for sure. No doubt about it there, Jesse. The race is canceled, says Gator Red. JRM wins in Xfinity, says Nicole Wembley. Win at $100 million, become a blue collar net worth, says Jamie Schweitzer. He started off as a blue collar guy, is what Richard Childress means by that. So I think that's what he meant by that. Not necessarily. I don't think there's any quote unquote blue collar teams. There's definitely none left other than, like your RCRs and Wood Brothers, but I don't think anybody you're not going to see another blue collar team. So I think what he means is the origin of the company is blue collar, but of course it's the internet. People are going to run with that. So, it is what it is. And this is the people that don't like RCR. This is their day to go and take shots at RCR because, Austin Hill certainly was in the wrong by turning right there. Mike sounds really good, says Camara. Appreciate it. Doing my best. Have had some sound issues, but I'm doing everything I can on my end to make it sound as good as possible. Iowa Speedway should be good next weekend for Xfinity and Cup. Yeah, Iowa has sold out every single time that they've had a race. I think so far, if I'm remembering correctly, I saw something about that. Because they sold it out pretty early, which is good for them. But yeah, it usually puts on a good race. What did Hill say on pit road? I missed that, says Nicole Wembley. He said a lot of stuff, but the one that's probably going to get NASCAR's attention is when he said F NASCAR. So that's probably going to be the one that draws their ire, if I had to guess. Safe to say Amarola's never driving for RCR, says Cody Ledger. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I would say that's pretty good. RCR has not been blue collar in a long time. Brickyard makes points on that topic. Says Shy. Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. With Richard Childress, I think he means the origin of the company is blue collar. But like I said, people are going to run with that. It's a talking point. It is what it is. I don't think he meant that. I don't think there's any such thing as a blue collar race team unless you get maybe a couple in ARCA. But Ryan Sieg Racing, maybe, and Xfinity. But yeah, I don't think at this point there's no such thing as a blue collar team in Cup. Even though what I think RCR meant by that, Richard Childress meant by that was it started off as a blue collar team. They have blue collar roots and a blue collar attitude. I think is sort of what he was getting at there. But everybody is entitled to their opinion, and they're going to run with it as to what he meant by that. NASCAR did a great job with promotion for San Diego, says I just would indeed would love to see that level for, of course, the Brickyard and some of their other crown jewel events. But good for San Diego. Hopefully that's a great event. Love the promo for San Diego next year, says Cassandra. As a local volunteer astrologist, weather may be a factor in the second half of the race today. Updates to my local Amish crews and their horses for safety, says John P. So there you go, John P. looking out for the horse and buggy community. SVG will win Indy, says Nachos. Look, he's qualified well. This might be a track he puts special emphasis on, and as much critique as he gets for his circle track stuff, good qualifying effort. We'll see. Hill took the fire off Larson big time, says Shaw. Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. That was literally, as a Larson fan, that was literally the first thing I thought about. I was like, nobody's even going to be talking about Larson because of what Hill just did. As soon as it happened, I was like, man, he's definitely going to be jumping up and down. I said this on Iceberg's post-race stream, but Kyle Busch has more wins than JRM, who just got 100, says in between the lanes. Hey, there you go. Kyle Busch leading what he's got. And for whatever reason, everybody decided to come out on and make their opinion known about RCR today. So it is what it is. I don't know what's up with that, but I don't know. Just I guess this is the jumping off point for people who are frustrated with RCR. I guess I could go back to Richmond last year with Austin Dillon. So some of it just goes back further than that. But this is the most current jumping off point for the people that dislike RCR and their drivers. With all this talk about Austin Hill, do you think Brad K or Stuart Friesen? You would think Brad K or Stuart Friesen won, says Sir Wood Rooster. Indeed. BB, the seat looked empty yesterday. You think NASCAR will choose to skip Busch Racing in Indianapolis in 2026? Yeah, it was unfortunate as how empty the stands look. It's a huge venue though, and Xfinity typically doesn't draw that many people. So at a bigger venue, it's even more noticeable. But it is a terrible look for TV. I will agree with you 100%. I don't know if they skip it, but we'll see. It was not the best look. I will say that. Had Sawalich winning yesterday. Heim time on Friday night, says in between the lanes. Yes, there you go. Corey Heim getting it done on Friday night. Sawalich didn't come through for you though. I like RCR, but they need to rejuvenate. Austin Dillon needs to take over in the office. RC needs to be an advisor and get some car development going, and another top speed driver, says Shaw. Yeah, I think they're working on all that stuff. Eventually they'll get to it. So I don't know. It's just hard to. I need to look up all the stats, but I feel like they're probably As far as the non-bigger teams, I feel like they've got a ton of wins. Other than the big three, I'd like to see who has the most wins. I need to look that up, but I feel like they get overlooked on how many wins they've had recently. So we'll see. We'll see. I need to look up the stats on that, though. Lane Riggs won the truck race Friday night, says In Between the Lanes. Indeed. Lane Riggs, not one to sleep on. We will see what his career has in store for him, whether he's going to Front Row Motorsports to drive in Cup or Penske or where he goes in the Xfinity Series, but definitely a bright young star for Ford. I would say probably in the Ford pipeline, Lane Riggs has to be probably has to be your top prospect as far as Ford development drivers at this point, because if they were going to do oh God, his name jumped right out of my head. The guy that drives the orange truck, won the truck championship. I don't know why his name jumped out of my head. If they were going to do anything with him, Ben Rhodes. If they were going to do anything with Ben Rhodes, they would have, I feel like, done something with him by now. But the fact that he's still in the truck series just makes me lean to believe that Ford's future, they see something in Lane Riggs there, unless somebody else makes a move in the lower series. I feel like Lane Riggs is the future over there at Ford. Watching the Xfinity Series race yesterday, I was thinking I wish they could go back to IRP, says Bruce Garvey. I think a lot of people would be okay with that. I think so for sure. Have a great day, everyone. Happy race day. Heading to the boat race. Good luck at the boat race. Cassandra there, the Gold Cup, I think she's referring to that she mentioned earlier. I got Austin Dillon winning today as a wild card, says In Between Lanes. RCR's got some, they've got some wins here at Indianapolis, so don't necessarily sleep on them. I agree with Shaw. RCR seems to have a hard time keeping up with the constant changes of NASCAR. Need a new voice. I think AD would excel in that role. Yeah, that's probably the most accurate. RCR, they're either good one year or they're bad one year. They're just never consistent. Like they'll look really good one year, and then one year they might be off. They're just missing a little bit of that consistency, I feel like. Zilich is going to be a force to be reckoned with when he gets to Cup and figures out the Gen 7 car, says Camaro. Yeah, he's the brightest. He's got to be the brightest potential prospect right now. No doubt about that. And next year, he's coming next year, right? We've got a pretty good idea he's going to Trackhouse next year, right? The only thing we need to know is who's going to be the sponsors, Red Bull and who else. I was happy to see Denny beat his favorite driver yesterday, says Jimmy Howard. Pitts will be key today, says Brickyard Brickhead. Indeed. Pitts is going to be one spot where you can gain a lot of positions on a track that is traditionally hard to pass at. How empty will the stands be today? Yesterday was sad. Almost no one there. In 1994, the Cup race was packed. Boy, have times changed, says Nicole. Yeah, indeed. This used to be a marquee event, and it's not even promoted like that anymore. So we'll see. Hopefully, it's a good attendance day. You can have 200,000 people at Indy, and it'll still look empty. I believe Indy can hold 300,000, says Joseph Wooden. That's a good point. It's like I said, it's such a big venue. It has to be a sellout so that it looks full. Crazy to think we are one random winner in trucks from Thor Sport not making the truck playoffs. Majeski currently has the spot, says Cody Ledger. Indeed. Ty Majeski. He's another one, but I feel like his age is going to be the reason he's not the most current Ford prospect. But yeah, for sure, Ty Majeski has been doing a great job for Ford over there in the truck series. BB, how many DNFs today? Oh, we're probably going to have, I would say 5. I'm going to go high here. I'm going to go 5 DNFs today. So over 4. I'm going over 4. Majeski, says Cody Ledger, Mr. Hendricks should kick Bowman out and put Connor Zilich in. I don't know if he will be any good in Trackhouse equipment, says Jimmy Howard. Yeah, that would be an interesting move. I don't know that that's going to happen. I think Connor Zilich is 100% going to go to Trackhouse, though. But I don't know. Alex Bowman always on the hot seat. Unfortunately for Alex Bowman. Briscoe's home track, says In Between Lanes. It is Briscoe's home track for sure. Will Austin Hill get suspended for wrecking Eric Almirola, says Kyle Sharp? Yes, 100%. He's going to get suspended, in my opinion. It is hard to think that everyone thought Kyle Busch was a big winner in the move to RCR and Reddick was the big loser when these moves first happened, says Bruce Garvey. Well, in their defense, Bruce Garvey, Kyle Busch did win 3 races off jump. So that's probably where they were coming from as far as that goes. But as time goes on, of course, And you knew eventually it would sway that way because Kyle Busch is an older driver. Tyler Reddick is a younger driver. You knew eventually it would skew toward Tyler Reddick's favor either way, no matter what happened. NRF did something on the Brickyard 400 involving Juan Pablo Montoya. So, yeah, for sure, check out NRF's video there on Juan Pablo if you haven't seen it yet. Did 2311 get their charter reinstated for the rest of the season, says Nicole Wembley? Not yet, not to my knowledge. So it's going to be, I think it was 2 races. It's going to be 2 races before we find out anything on that. So at least 2 races, I should say. So they're going to be running as an open team for a couple races. Indy has over 257,000 in seating. Says PC Gone Rogue. Is Pitbull starting a new NASCAR team? Which series, if so? I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that, but that would be something for sure if it happened. Speaking back to Bruce Garvey, is Tyler Reddick winning though with the lawsuit and all that? I don't know. Right now, I feel like it's a lateral move. I feel like the performances have been, as far as wins, I should say, have been about sort of equal. Tyler Reddick has the regular season championship though, but now I don't know, with the lawsuit and everything up in the air with 2311. I don't know. It's going to be really interesting. But yeah, I feel like at the beginning of it, the 3 wins that Kyle Busch reeled off was why people were feeling like that. But I felt like the whole time, eventually, you're going to feel like the bigger winner because you got Tyler Reddick, because he's got more of a future ahead of him because he's obviously going to drive for a longer time. So I feel like it was inevitable that it goes that way. Favorites and sleepers today. Favorites, I think Tyler Reddick by the numbers, I think was your favorites. Let me pull those. Where are the numbers at here? Yeah, Tyler Reddick by the numbers looks like he's going to be the favorite. Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson, and Bubba Wallace there. So Bubba Wallace in your lineup on fantasy probably would be a good pick. Sleepers, as far as this goes, Bubba Wallace would be one of them. John Hunter Nemechek, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Michael McDowell. I feel like those would all be good sleepers according to the numbers here from driveraverages.com. So if you're looking to slide somebody in there, this sort of unorthodox, those would probably be your picks. With the track position that Ty Gibbs has, you would have to put him on that list as well. So there you go. That's going to be probably your best bet there for fantasy. I see at least one 2311 driver leaving before 26 Daytona 500, says Jamie Schweitzer. Yeah, that's going to be really interesting with how all this legal stuff plays out. There's just so much up in the air. It's going to be crazy what the fallout is actually going to be. I think for next season, they'll probably both stay, but I don't know. You're right. It could go either way. Like, I don't know. That's a bold prediction. I don't know. I can't see that far into the future, but it's definitely going to be interesting how it influences contracts. Is FRM and 2311 going to get their charter sold before the season ends? No. I think NASCAR said they're going to hold on to them. I think NASCAR is using that as a bargaining tactic. And the reason I say that is NASCAR would make it really messy if they sold those charters before all the legal stuff was handled. So I think NASCAR is just using that as a pressure tactic. And I think NASCAR will let all of the legal stuff play out before they sell those charters, would just be my guess. But they're going to use it as a tactic for sure. Best picks are anyone in a Yoder, says Shy. Yeah, looking like a Toyota track so far. Too bad Elio Castroneves is not in today's race. Like the Daytona 500 would have filled more seats, says Nicole Wembley. Yeah. He brings a lot of fans with him, and he got promised a Daytona 500. Hopefully, he can get a Daytona 500 in a better car, and hopefully he can make a Brickyard start at some point in the Cup Series as well. As a Ford guy, it crushes my soul to say that, says Shah. Talking about this looks like a Toyota day. Yeah, so far it does, but who knows? Once they get started, we will see what happens. Wild playoff question. Do you see a position being created for most laps completed during the regular season, says Sir Wood Rooster? I doubt it. But you never know. They're going to do something to the system next year, so we'll see what happens. I'm calling Carson Hocevar to win today, says Jamie Schweitzer. Carson Hocevar, definitely he's going to be a good pick at any track because eventually he's going to break through. Speaking of Michael Jordan, I think one of the things about the lawsuit is he came from a sport where owners and players split revenues and the books are open. He's not used to closed books, says Bruce Garvey. Yeah, The closed book aspect of it is going to make it very interesting for sure. Bubba Wallace, a favorite at Indy, would not have thought that, but he must have some solid finishes here at the Brickyard, says Badlands Bandit. Yeah, that was just, like I said, driver averages according to how they rate things. He's looking like a favorite over there. Silly season won't get heated up until after the verdict of the lawsuit, says Joseph Wooten. I think so too. Or they settle, or whatever is going to happen in that. I think the car design and parts adjustments or add a new part NASCAR approves to add to all teams. Yeah, they definitely need to do, to Gator's point here, they definitely need to do something to make the passing better at these high-speed tracks. I agree with that 100%. NASCAR has probably been advised by their legal team not to entertain selling charters until the court case is done with. Says done. Yes, that's what I think too, but I think that they're going to bluff that just to put some more pressure on 2311 because it's just what NASCAR does, right? It is, it is what it is. That's their MO, and they're going to stick true, I guess, to what they're doing, even though they're essentially in an aspect getting taken to court for being bullies with monopolistic practices, right? So it's an interesting tactic that they said they're going to sell them as soon as possible, then haven't sold them yet, and said they're going to hold on to them until after the injunction or whatever. But I'm with you. I think their legal team has told them not to sell them until all the legal proceedings are done, because otherwise it's just going to make it really, really messy. I'm wearing my Brickyard 400 shirt I bought at Haley Deegan's merch hauler 4 years ago. Says I'm bricked up like Haley Deegan. It's a cool Brickyard shirt I wear a lot when I eat hot dogs. Says John P. The Glizzy Gobbler himself, John P. No one enjoys hot dogs more than him, including Joey Chestnut. The weather is going to be a factor today, says Kyle Sharp. Looks like it. We're going to get probably some weather at some point. Whether we get the whole race in or not, I don't know. Last TNT broadcast today, indeed. And we find out who wins $1 million for their team. 2311 in front row need to take a knee and bow their heads and kiss the ring, says Shah, talking about NASCAR's trying to make them kiss the ring. Bad thing, NASCAR starts... Bad things. NBC starts next week, and we have to hear Jeff Burton, says Joseph Wooten. So Joseph Wooten, not a fan of young Jeff Burton. I call 6 non-stage ending cautions and 2 red flags, says Jamie Schweitzer. Yeah, for sure. We're definitely going to see some red flags, at least for weather. John Henry Nemechek was on Rubbing His Racing podcast, so there you go. Check it out on the Barstool Sports app, I think, or wherever you get your podcasts. How much do charter teams get paid to show up? Not having box scores without race winnings for each car sucks. This is why I hate charters. Yeah, according to Door Bumper Clear, it's like 18% or something like that. That was the number they threw out. Other people have thrown out the number of 1/3. Bob Pockris being one of those people that have thrown out the 1/3 number. So anywhere between 18% and 1/3. I'll take Jeff Burton over Steve Letarte any day, says Jesse Daly. So, what's interesting about that, we should probably do a poll question. Oh, I don't know. That would stir up too much shit. So we'll do it. We should do a poll question on who is the most irritating announcer. We should do that poll question one day. So put your suggestions down below, and I'll write them down after the show. Let's see. I don't mind Burton as long as Dale Jr. is not with him, says Shaw. Yeah, a lot of people say they sound so much alike that it's hard to tell them apart. Jimmy Spencer for Pit Road Walk Reporter, I say, says Jamie Schweitzer. Jimmy Spencer had a huge fan club as far as that goes. I heard that the race next week is on USA Channel. Anyway, says Kyle Sharp. NBC, they're going to move around the Cup stuff unless it's like a big event. They're going to try to force you to buy cable. They sound the same to me, and I don't know who was talking, says Shaw. Yeah, I've heard my mom's the same way as far as that goes. There's a lot of people that feel like they have a similar enough accent that they can't tell which one is screaming at which moment. Jamie Little, okay, so we're naming the worst announcers. Crying Towel says in between the lanes he wants to see the Jimmy Spencer Crying Towel segment come back. So right now, Jamie Little, Michael Waltrip, and Larry Mack for most irritating. Maybe why he isn't in the booth anymore on Fox, says Jesse Daly. Mikey Waltrip has to be one of the most annoying reporters, not an announcer. So would he be eligible? He does announce in the Truck Series, so he is eligible. Either way there, Jamie Schweitzer, for sure. The weather radar around Indy doesn't look good, says PC. Yeah, they're going to get some weather at some point. Whether they get it started, it's going to be interesting for sure. Michael Waltrip says Joseph Wooten. So Michael Waltrip getting a lot of votes here. Only 4 races on NBC Antenna TV for the rest of the year. Yep, they're trying. NBC trying to force you to buy cable. So you have to watch USA and all the other stuff that they've got going on, or trying to force you to buy Peacock. Either way you want to look at it. Is Letarte coming back to NBC this year? Says Donnie S. That's a great question. I don't know. I don't know what his contract looks like or what's going on with that, or if he even wants to. So all that and more remains to be answered. Yeah. Sounds like you have your next poll question, BB, says Jamie Schweitzer. Yeah, for sure. I'll throw it up. That's what the chat craves. So we will give that to the chat next time we do a live. I won't be buying cable or Peacock, says Nicole. I don't think a lot of people will be. Too many companies jumped in on the streaming deal and kind of shot themselves in the foot on that, in my opinion. Lee Diffie back as play-by-play. Indeed. The Diffster is back. Diffamania. Will live forever. NBC, rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. NBC probably moves races to Peacock eventually, says Bruce Garvey. Yeah, it's going to be interesting what they do. I wonder if at some point maybe Amazon just buys a chunk of their races from them, because they seem like they just don't prioritize a lot of races. The radar didn't look good either yesterday and split the track, says Joseph Wooten. That's true. That's a good point. Green, white, checkered. Today, BB. Oh, I don't know. This race usually goes green, long green runs. I would lean toward no green, white checker, but you never know. Dallenbach was an annoying announcer, says T Van. So there you go, T Van dialing it back to Wally Dallenbach, way back in the day. So yeah, he was. I don't know. I can't remember if he was if he got a lot of criticism back then or not. I'm trying to remember. It's been confusing as hell seeing so many different. I know it would be hard to say because back when he was doing it, the internet wasn't as prevalent as it is today with social media and whatnot. It's just confusing as hell seeing how many different announcers split between Fox, TNT, and Prime this year. Indeed. The lady on TNT broadcast sucks. Jamie Little is better, says Shaw. Talking about as far as pit reporting goes. NBC Sports Network failed, and they're still putting stuff on cable. Bad business, says Nicole. Indeed. Ned Jarrett would always mention Morgan Shepherd, even when he was 38th. Yeah, for sure. Ned was always looking out for his boy Morgan there, no doubt about it. Maybe Phil Parsons, says in between the lanes. Yeah, he can be, especially when he's going full homer for his son. But I'm not hating on that because, you know, who wouldn't go full homer for their son? I hated the stage cautions yesterday, ruined the race. 6 long yellow flags on each stage. Yeah, and they just kept clocking laps under yellow too. It was unfortunate. And we ended up with the finish that we ended up with because of that as well. The lady that does Cup, Little does trucks, says Shaw. They should hire Deegan, Decker, and Breitinger for pit reporters and just have a camera on them the entire race. They know about racing. That's why I said what I said, says John P. Would Dick Trickle have made a good booth announcer? BB, says Jamie Schweitzer. Yeah, dude, Dick Trickle would have been awesome. He had a great personality for sure. No doubt about it. Chicken Little is better, says Shaw. Looks like Arca has a new play-by-play guy. Yeah. They got the guy from the Cars tour, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's where he came from. So good on him. All right. Looks like we've reached the end of this one. Final results of the poll question is Ty Dillon, 58%. The friends we made along the way, 16%, 27% for young Teasy Ty Gibbous. And that's going to do it for this one. Until the next one, good luck. Good luck to your driver. Hope they do well, unless they're trying to finish in front of my driver. Until the next one. Peace.